Guys, welcome to the second season of Space Money movie reviews. Today we're going to be seeing Scream 7. This is just about an hour before I see the movie, and I'm also going to be including like a miniature vlog in this because I came to do some shopping. So let's get on with the video. Okay guys, so before the movie I was going to get a t-shirt, and first I went to Spencer's. They had it, but not in the exact style I was looking for. So I headed to the second best option, which is Hot Topic. So let's take a look. Hey guys, so the t-shirt I got is a Hellfire Club Lives t-shirt from Stranger Things Season 5. I know it's not identical to the show because it is a short sleeve, but I like it regardless. But I'll be honest, Spencer's did have the better deal, but I just chose to go with Hot Topic because they're more reliable in my experience. Okay guys, I'm at the theater right now. Look at this giant ass screen,
1 minute.
and it's not even IMAX. It's truly amazing. Okay guys, I just got back from the theater, so we will be talking about the good and bad of the movie, and I will also be giving you a basic summary. I'll be honest, I loved it. It was a great experience, but there were definitely some flaws, as no movie is perfect. So let's get right into it. Okay guys, the movie starts off with a couple attending an Airbnb themed after the previous Stab movies, which, in case you guys don't know, is where Ghostface comes from as a fictional movie character, and then somehow people imitate him and start killing people in real life. And the girlfriend is not fond of this at all. She does not like the idea of them attending this sort of Airbnb, and she kind of wants to leave, but the boyfriend is the complete opposite and says that he wants to stay, and he's nerding out the whole time and it's a good idea, until the girlfriend encounters a Ghostface robot. And the movie does a really good part at this moment with the robot moving, because it kind of scares you just a little bit with the music and the scene intensifying, and it gives off the idea that maybe it's not a robot, but then we realize it is a robot, just that it has a motion sensor. And then from there, they're, just spending some time looking around the place until they ultimately discover that there is an actual Ghostface killer on the loose again, and the couple gets killed. Then the title rolls, and then we see Sidney Prescott in her new life with her husband and daughter, who is named after Sidney's best friend, Tatum. And we also see that Sidney is now named Sidney Prescott Evans. And that's about it. We also see that Sidney and her daughter do not get along whatsoever, as she does not want her daughter to know about her past and wants her to be her own person. But yet her daughter Tatum has so many questions. Regardless, they go to school. Tatum meets up with her friends. And here, after school, in the rehearsal, the Ghostface killer, supposed one, calls Sidney, and we see it's Stu, who died in the first movie. And we see that he's threatening her, and Sidney's just confused because, like, are you kidding me? Like, I thought you died like 30 years ago, but apparently not. And the movie for a while leads you to think that Stu somehow is alive, because you never know with movies nowadays. But I find Scream to be like the most realistic movie franchise, because they tend to make fun of themselves and the horror genre. So there's that. And so one by one, well, really two of Tatum's friends get killed in the rehearsal scene. And Tatum is just out of her mind, and so is Sydney, because they can't believe that there's this new killer on the loose, impersonating Ghostface for God knows how many times now. So regardless, that happens. And then we see Chad and Mindy from Scream 5 and 6, and we see that they are reporters, like amateur reporters trying to get a story. And obviously we see Gale Weathers with them. And we also see that Sydney still does not like Gale Weathers, even though she eventually gives her the interview after 30 years. And then the friends hide away at a tavern bar because the town set a curfew. And then the Ghostface killer, also once again using the face of Stu, is threatening Sydney. But then we discover later on that it's AI, because, you know, AI has truly made its way into everything now, including movies. So one by one, this ghost killer just goes off and kills every one of Tatum's friends. She escapes. And then we see Sydney uncover a file from a psychiatric ward of this patient who was obsessed with Billy Loomis, and he wanted to be Ghostface as soon as he got out of the psychiatric ward, which he ultimately did become Ghostface. And then there's just, towards the end of the movie, there's just a big standoff between the two. You know, typical horror movie rules that the guns never work, and it always pisses me off, because supposedly the character cannot aim, or just, I don't know what it is, but the guns are always just so useless. So with that in mind, let's look at the good and bad of this movie. Okay, I'm going to be very honest about the things I don't like about this movie, so let's just get it over with. This is just like something I don't like about the Scream franchise is that it's like kind of, in a way, a parody of the horror franchise, because, you know, it's based off of a fictional movie series called Stab. And they talk about all the cliches, and it's very self-aware and intentional, which, you know, could also be seen as a new take done in Hollywood. But there were just some moments that were trying to be so serious, but honestly weren't. Like, some of the actors were trying to have a heart-to-heart moment, or delivering serious lines, and I just was not buying it. I found myself chuckling a little bit. I was like, no way they just said it like that. The delivery could have been better, but it was not there, I'll tell you that. Obviously, what do I know about that? So maybe I shouldn't go too deep into it, but I feel the need to. Another thing is that Ben, Tatum's boyfriend, he broke accent several times, particularly in the moment where Tatum discovers that Ben is looking at Stu, like the AI Stu, on his computer, and she believes that he's the one making the videos. There's just several times where he's just going from Australian accent to American accent. And at the moment, I couldn't tell if this was like actually happening. And I was like, wait a minute, is he breaking accent? And I was like, I think he is. And then when I was done with the movie and I looked up the actor online, yeah, he is not an American. He's Australian and clearly does not have a good dialect coach. I have seen other Australian actors, I can't think of any at the moment, who have done a better American accent and can maintain one for a good amount of time in a role. Same with British actors. But yeah, it was nuts. It really grinds my gears when Hollywood just becomes so lazy on something that should be, simple. Okay, guys, now I'm going to talk about what I did like in this movie, and that was certainly the fact that they gave the main role to Isabel Maine rather than to McKenna Grace, because anyone who saw the previews would assume that the role is going to her, but we don't. We see that not be the case because she dies in the first act. And I'm gonna be honest, it's very good that they gave Isabel May the leading role because she has been in less stuff than McKenna. Another thing I like about this movie certainly is the fact that the pacing is very good, very fast. They try to figure out who the killer is way faster than they did in Scream 6. There's not like anything in the way. It just goes very fast, and then they eventually do find out the killer, and we see that it's the guy from the psychiatric ward. With that in mind, I want to mention this about Ghostface. Throughout the whole movie, like, it really makes you kind of think. It kind of deceives you by thinking that Stu's character may still be alive, even though this movie franchise tries to be as realistic as possible. And it did that. Stu obviously is dead. There's no way they brought him back to life.